and Surah 33, verse 21, which says that Muhammad is the pattern of conduct for Muslims to imitate. Most Muslims believe that Muhammad's life and teachings are also an authority alongside the Quran. And so then you get into these like massive multi-volume collections of stories about Muhammad and so on. You have to know those. You have to know those too. And so
let's talk more about that, about Muhammad being the model of character. Let's say anybody who has any knowledge of Muhammad's life knows that there's some problematic things there. What are some of the most problematic aspects of Muhammad's life and character, especially when compared to Jesus, the central figure of Christianity?
Yeah, well, Muhammad, he was kind of known for, he gets special moral privileges. Like whatever the revelation is for other people, he gets special privileges. So, for instance, it's in the Quran that you can marry up to 4 wives. You can have up to 4 wives. Muhammad had at least 9 at one time. And it's just Allah gave him a special revelation that he can get, he can have as many wives as he wants. So he gets the special privileges. But it also became a thing that like whatever he wants, he would just get a revelation saying that Allah really, really wants him to have it. And even his wife Aisha, she noticed this. She said, after one of his convenient revelations, she said, "Your Lord hastens to satisfy your wishes and desires." It's like anytime you want something, Allah just comes in with a revelation and gives you that. And speaking of Aisha, she was 6 years old when Muhammad claimed to have had a dream that Allah was giving her to him as a gift. So it's a 6-year-old. He comes up to her, "Hey, I just got a dream, and Allah says that he wants me to have you." So they arranged. Yeah. They arranged the marriage contract. They eventually consummate the marriage when she's 9. So he was 54 years old at the time, and he consummated marriage with a 9-year-old girl. That's certainly
problematic.
Yeah, that's very problematic. So you have things like that. You have he took the wife of his own adopted son. So he had an adopted son named Zayd. And Zayd had a wife who was very beautiful. One day, Muhammad saw her almost naked, and he starts praising Allah. And it's because he's praising Allah because as soon as he saw her practically naked, Allah instantly revealed, "Oh, yeah, she's going to be yours. Even though she's the wife of your own adopted son, she's going to be yours." And then so the son, his adopted son, divorces his wife so that Muhammad could take her. And then people were still like, it still sounded like incest to people, like that was your own adopted son, what's going on? And then so the solution is Allah abolishes adoption in Islam. There's no adoption in Islam anymore. You could take care of an orphan. You could take care of an orphan, but you are not adopting an orphan into your family. And the reason was just to block criticism of Muhammad. So you have those kinds of things like all over the Muslim sources. He tortured a man and executed him because the man knew where some money was hidden. Then Muhammad takes that guy's wife back to his tent after torturing and killing her husband and so on. And that became one of his wives. And sex slaves. It's all kinds of things. Matter of fact, it's interesting. Surah 66, the opening verses, people don't know the historical background, but the historical background is Muhammad got caught in the bed of one of his wives, Hafsa. He got caught in her bed. She came back early, and he was in her bed with one of his slave girls. Now, he was allowed to have sex with his slave girls. That was understood. His wives didn't like it happening in their beds. Like, that's my bed. My bed. You're doing it in my bed. So she got mad. And then Muhammad, and then all his wives start complaining. "This is what you do in our beds when we're not around? This is disgusting." And so he swore an oath. He said, I swear by Allah, I will not have sex with that slave girl anymore. And then the opening verses of Surah 66 are Allah telling Muhammad, "Hey, I didn't tell you to make that oath. You can break your oath. Go ahead and break your oath to your wives and go back to having sex with your
That's in the Quran.
Girl." That's straight out of the Quran.
Jeez. So I also have heard and have some knowledge of parts of the Quran allowing Muslim men to be aggressive with their wives, to hit their wives if necessary. Is that accurate? I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah, that's Surah 4, verse 34 of the Quran. It's there does seem to be, now it doesn't say this, it says that from those, no, this is the most, apart from the beating, the worst part is that it says, what it actually says is, as for those from whom you fear rebellion or disobedience or something like that, you'll get different translations, but they don't have to actually do anything. Your wives don't have to do anything. If you fear that they're going to be
They
disobedient or something like that. Then you admonish them. It just says, admonish them, banish them to beds apart, and scourge them or beat them. And lots of most Muslims take this as like a progression. Like you say, okay, first I'll warn you, then I'll banish you to separate beds. So we're separating in our house. We're not sleeping in the same bed. And then the final step is to beat you. It doesn't say that. It just says these are the 3 things you can do. So you could, in theory, skip to the beating if you want. But the fact that it says that it's, if you fear rebellion or disobedience from your wife, you can beat her. That's the creepy part, because Muhammad said in the hadith, a man will not be asked as to why he beat his wife. Don't ask a man why he beat his wife. Now, why? Because it's not about what she did. It's about if this man had some sort of fear that she was going to do something. So who you can't judge this man's fear. How can you say he's not afraid of his wife being rebellious or something? And so
it's totally speculative. It's subjective. Whatever the husband feels. Yeah,
and people don't understand. Like, I mean, it's in Sahih al-Bukhari, where a man beat his wife until her skin turned green. So,
gosh,
I mean, her skin had turned green from the beating. And Aisha, his child bride, who's bringing this woman to Muhammad to try and get justice for her, Aisha says, I have not seen any woman suffering more than the believing women. In other words, pagan women aren't treated like this.
Yeah.
Muslim women are treated worse than any other group of women on the planet. Why is this? And skip to the end of the story. Muhammad condemns the woman for being a bad wife and causing her husband to beat her until her skin turns green.
Was Muhammad himself known to hit his wives?
You have passages. It's interesting because the hadiths that were translated in like the 1980s or 90s, it would say, Muhammad hit me in my chest. It's Aisha talking. Muhammad struck me in my chest, which caused me pain, or hit me in my chest, which caused me pain. And if you go to, then we started using that to show, hey, Muhammad actually took his own advice and was known for beating his wives. You look at more recent translations, now it'll say, and he shoved me or something like that. So it's interesting that as we use their sources to criticize Muhammad, they'll change the translations.